It's not that. It's just that only one person's ever said that to me before.
A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Without knowing it, I end up steering into a troublesome topic again. I should try to cheer her up a little. It was me who went and got her brooding, after all. Want to go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? It might perk her up a bit. Or at least take her mind off apparently complicated family situation. Going by her smile, it seems to have the intended effect.
I appreciate the thought, but the food there...
Quite a quick redirection of the conversation. She does have a point, though. The food there isn't the greatest. So, maybe the Shanghai? You could ask Hanako if she wants to come as well.
Ah.
What is it?
I almost forgot until you reminded me. Hanako's birthday is coming up soon, and I was going to go shopping in the city for a present tomorrow.
If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. The ability to get used to the layout of the city would probably be a good thing. I have barely set foot in there, so I'd be hopelessly lost by myself. She gives a nod, signaling that she happily approves of this plan for Sunday. We eventually get back to our books, though before I begin reading again, I steal one glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking on my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Bored of standing in place and watching the television in a shop window, I pull myself away from the tacky display with little effort. After living at Yamaku, the city seems like an entirely different world. Not running in the halls, common orderly conduct is to be used at all times in the classrooms. Students are to exit rooms after checking both directions for oncomers. Elevators are reserved for movement-impaired students, single file or stairs. Compared to such strict, almost regimental standards, the city's shopping arcade might as well be a strange country. While the school may have its fair share of hustle and bustle during the festival, the outside world is much different. It's strange. Having lived in a metropolitan city before my accident, this should feel more natural than Yamaku and the surrounding town ever could. Yet it feels foreign. Somehow, the elevated walkways and tall buildings, each adorned with billboards taller than any three people, don't do anything to distract me from the passing crowd's reaction. Lilly keeps one hand on my shoulder, the other holding her cane, which taps the ground with a metronome-like steadiness. Looking over to her, that neutral smile of hers still holds. Having only seen her in school uniform, I'd not have recognized her as she sat on a bench waiting for me to come, if not for her cane propped against it and her distinctive hair. I can't tell whether they're glancing at her due to her height, her foreign looks, her obvious blindness, or all three. Not that any of those would make the situation any less uncomfortable than it is.
Do you have any ideas where to look first, Hisao?
Her voice, soft, breaks me out of my line of thought. I can't imagine that she's failing to notice the attention she garners, but she seems unfazed by it. I get the feeling she's the type to enjoy walking outside, so she might be used to it by now. Not really. This is my first time in the city, so I've got no idea of where to go. She furrows her brow in thought, planning a route for us to take, and come to think of it, a way to communicate it. Something I've noticed in the time I've been with her is how, when deep in thought, she lacks close to any form of body language to show it. Her expression may change, but not a hint of movement shows. She seems to have little in the way of sweeping physical gestures in general, though, so I assumed it's part of her reserved nature.
Is there an electronics store near here?
I take a quick look around, mostly finding clothing stores. After a few seconds, I notice a store with a bright blue sign some distance away that fits her description. Yep, it's just a bit ahead of us. Should we go in that direction? Thankfully, it's just the information she needed. With a nod, we start off and head towards Lilly's unknown destination, landmarks being our guide.
Here you go. One vanilla, one chocolate.
I hand the money over the counter and take the cones to the railings that Lily's sitting on. I can't believe I let her trick me like this. She not only led me to an ice cream stall, but also got me to buy her some. At least she gave me the money for hers. Sure enough, she's patiently waiting where I'd left her. I guess she was planning on making the day an event rather than a simple shopping trip. I call out to her and slowly place the vanilla cone in her outstretched hands, being careful to make sure she has a good hold of it before letting go. At least her tastes are fairly normal. I was worried she'd ask for some weird flavor when she first asked. Here's the change.
It's okay. Keep it.
I moved to protest, but realized the futility of doing so over such a small amount. I slipped the coin into my pocket, supplementing my meager allowance ever so slightly. Lilly shows no sign of wanting to get up, so I take a seat beside her and start eating my own ice cream. The summer weather's nice. Hopefully it will hold out for a while.
You too. I'm beginning to think I'm the only person who prefers winter.
I contemplate her statement for a long moment. Lilly, don't worry. I like winter. Yeah, I think you might be. It draws the intended reaction. She's cute when she's pouting. I agree with you, Hisao. Still, I can't really imagine what's so good about winter. You can't go out without bundling up, and you still freeze anyway.
I used to live further north, where there'd be plenty of snow to play in. So it's a little nostalgic. I don't feel the heat very much either. I don't like the heat very much either.
Lilly, I have one thing to tell you.
Winter is coming.
Bum bum bum! At least you can wear a skirt, so don't complain about that. She gives an amused giggle as we both get back to finishing off our already melting ice cream cones. I idly sit and watch the crowds going by as we eat, catching bits and pieces of conversation. Looking to Lilly, I see her dutifully licking her ice cream from top downwards, blissfully unaware of the fact that it's beginning to melt. It's melting.
Where?
Down a bit? She lowers her mouth from the top of the cone, but has no idea of exactly where the ice cream's dripping. What follows is a game of guiding her left and right until she finally finds it. To any onlooker, it must seem absolutely bizarre. A girl with her eyes closed, turning her cone over and over as the guy next to her gives her instructions. A strange variant of childhood blindfold games, maybe. In good time, we finally finish our treats, and while away the time conversing casually. Caught mid-sentence, Lilly perks her head in a trademark manner. It's an unmistakable sign that something's caught her attention.
Ah,
What is it?
there's Akira somewhere over there. I think I heard her.
I raise an eyebrow as I look in the direction she's facing, somewhat doubtful of her ability to pick out Akira's lone voice in the den. Sure enough, though, a blonde girl in a suit can be seen through the tiny gaps between people walking every which way. I raise a hand and wave, trying to catch her attention. Sato! Hey, Sato! She stops in her tracks and looks towards me, evidently noticing my calls. As she does, I notice someone walking beside her. I can't get a good look at whoever it is, though, before the two begin walking towards where we are. As they reach us, Lilly and I stand and dust ourselves off.
Akira?
Hey, you two.
She nods towards me, a gesture which I quickly return. My gaze shifts towards the young girl next to her, and our eyes meet. As they do, Akira plops a hand onto her head, a move which doesn't seem to faze her.
I don't believe we've met. I'm Hideki. Pleased to meet you, Hisao.
A guy's name, huh? Guess I just dodged a bullet there. He bows, somewhat restrained by Akira's hand being on his head.
Oh, Hideki's here too. Are you well?
Akira's been taking very good care of me. Thank you.
Akira grins as if to affirm the point and rubs his head hard, dragging it around in a circular motion. His dreary face during this is somewhat amusing.
Uncle's out on business again, so I'm just taking him out around town for today.
I have preferred to be spending the day on a date with my boyfriend, but... Hideki gives a cough to try and redirect Akira's thoughts. As he does so, though, I find mine wandering. They're related? And further, as first cousins? I suppose that explains why she's taking care of him in any case. Come to think of it, Hideki, how did you know my name?
Akira told me. Being a Yamaku student, I suppose you're disabled in some way.
Not everyone Yamaku's disabled. which I only learned a handful of days ago. I give a solemn thanks to Shizune and Misha for their stream of information about how the school works. Because of them, I found out that since the school will accept practically anybody suffering from non-mental disabilities, it doesn't discriminate against healthy people either. It seems unlikely that many in good health would enroll there, though. While the standard of education is pretty high, it's extremely isolated and very much focused on helping disabled students.
You're dodging the question.
Damn, he's sharp. Before I can say another word, though, he decides to take a stab at it himself.
If I were to call it myself, your heart?
Akira looks mildly curiously at me. Her interest piqued as well. That was sure a lucky guess. How did you...
You show no signs of missing limbs or deformities, so external abilities are out. Considering the lack of any strange mannerisms, it's also unlikely that you have any mental disability.
But Yamaku doesn't take mentally disabled students.
I know. Leaving that aside, the only possibility left is that of internal disabilities. I didn't know which one you might bear, so I guessed correctly, as it turns out, and your reaction confirms my guess.
More than a little bemused, I look to Akira. She grins and shrugs, obviously taking some enjoyment out of her partner's deductions. He's sharp, yes, but more than a little unsympathetic. Logical, but lacking in tact. His attitude reminds me of Shizune in a way, as do his looks.
May I ask why you're staring at me? Surely I'm not that unusual a specimen.
Does he not know how unusual he looks? I could overlook the spats and clothing as being just coincidental, but the rib in his hair is really too much. This is entirely beside the point, though. Sorry, you just remind me of someone. Akira gives him a sharp jab with her elbow.
Told you you're not that much different from her.
He coughs into his hand to try and maintain an upright and serious demeanor.
I see you've met my sister then. Perhaps my full name might help you. I am Hideki Hakamichi. You are probably thinking of my sister, Shizune Hakamichi.
Oh, so he's Shizune's brother. Wait a minute. If Hideki is the son of Akira's uncle, and Shizune is his sister, then that means Lilly and Shizune's fathers are brothers. Therefore, Lilly and Shizune are first cousins? Lilly groans in an uncharacteristically unrestrained manner. The reaction earns an amused smirk from her sister. I promise I know how to read uncharacteristically. Most of the time. The enmity between the two just took on another meaning. I had thought it simply a matter of difficulty in communication between the two, but a family feud makes things much more complicated.
You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
She gives a half-hearted shrug. She doesn't give as much weight to the two's conflict as I do.
Well, that's how it is. What are you two up to, anyway, on this fine day?
We're shopping for Hanako's birthday present. The day will be coming up soon, so this is the last chance we'll have before school starts again for the week.
Akira makes a strange face, as if Lilly had just said that the sky wasn't blue and that the clouds not white.
Isn't her birthday on the 10th next month?
Yes, why? Is something wrong?
Akira's face seems to collapse. It's an utterly unbefitting expression for someone so rowdy and headstrong.
The folks didn't call you yet.
As Lilly shakes her head cluelessly, I look at Hideki to see if he somehow knows anything about this. A simple shrug is his only answer. For a moment, Akira ponders what to do before smiling once again. The fact that she can hide her emotions so quickly and effectively is unsettling.
Hey, Shorty. Sorry, but could you hang with us out for a while?
He nods and waves her off. Akira placing an arm on Lily's shoulder as she guides her away and out of earshot. And so I'm left alone with Shorty. So, nice weather, isn't it?
It seems so.
I guess they dumped us.
Indeed.
What a farcical attempt at small talk. I've got no idea how to talk to this guy, and his robotic responses aren't helping. Blood and a stone come to mind. Without another word, he begins to rock on his feet in an obvious gesture of boredom with this discussion. He really is like a little kid, despite his serious demeanor. Suspecting the conversation over, I decide to accomplish what I came here to do in the first place. I'm going to go search for a present. Coming?
Not much else to do.
In a little while, we come up to a small shop besides a convenience store. I'm gonna end the part there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Or, Hideki would also like a word. As the probability of this series getting viewed is 0.1.00100111%, I don't believe it matters, so fuck you all, I'm a robot, deal with it.